Thank you so much for being here, Michael, and thank everyone for attending the session and attending the launch session. Stay with us, and like I said, if you feel like the information's too much, just take a deep breath. Any questions, put it in the chat. You can also unmute yourself towards the end and just feel like this is a very open format space and we want to get to know everyone here. All right, Michael, the floor is yours.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anne. Really appreciated your opening session. I'm really excited for the day ahead. I've looked at the schedule and I can't wait to attend all of the talks. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the World Polygon Forum. I would like to spend the next half an hour giving a little bit of introduction about myself, talking about the vision and mission for Unit, talking about how we believe that the Unit ecosystem and technology will play such a big role, not just in the Polygon ecosystem, but overall in the entire token economy and in the entire blockchain space and beyond. How can the everyday person benefit from amazing technologies like Polygon and Unit and tokens in general? So in terms of a bit of a background, I'm Micheal Haely. I'm half Singaporean, half British. I've been building technology companies for the past 13 years now. I got started building web apps and web applications. And then when the iPhone came out in 2009 and the Android opened up its Play Store, started building some of the early Android and iPhone applications, ran a popular social network and video conferencing app with a few million users, sold it in 2014. Been in the crypto space since 2010. So I worked for WikiLeaks. I built the Android app for WikiLeaks, and the governments froze our Visa, MasterCard, PayPal bank accounts. So we started using Bitcoin, and that was my introduction to Bitcoin as a technology. And it's really amazing how far it's come over these years. So Bitcoin, super revolutionary, peer-to-peer payments, and Ethereum said, hey, let's build smart contracts. Peer-to-peer payments are cool, but let's build decentralized news. Let's build a decentralized social network. Let's build a decentralized search engine. And then what's really exciting about Polygon has looked at Ethereum and said, hey, how can I make Ethereum better? And as Anne alluded to earlier, and Ravikant mentioned, it's amazing how Polygon has provided the scalability. It's if you look at NFTs taking off this year, Polygon can claim so much credit to that. Without Polygon, many of these NFTs which have been issued, they wouldn't have been able to be affordable to the many artists and creators that have been using the technology. So, and that brings us to what is Unit. So, us at Unit, we've been working hard to build this concept called the token economy. And the token economy basically represents a future where tokens play an integral part of the economy. And you would think, like, what is wrong with the economy now? How can we fix it? How can we improve the economic system? And we boil it down to two things. So one is that value doesn't flow as freely and efficiently as it should at the moment. Similar to how prior to the internet, information didn't flow around so freely or fluidly. If you wanted to get news, you needed to wait for tomorrow's newspaper. You needed to depend on the publishers. If you wanted to start a newspaper or you want to be a writer, you needed to hopefully get the approval of editors or a newspaper to hire you. Otherwise, you couldn't launch your own newspaper. And you could say the same about the mobile phone. When the mobile phone came out, it used to be $1 a minute or €1 a minute to call somewhere around the world. And then the mobile phone just commoditized it. So the really exciting thing about tokens is it allows value to just flow so much more freely. That's super exciting. The second thing is there's this huge inequity in the world. There is the 1%, or there is the small minority of society which start companies and they invest in companies, which is so important, but they receive all of the value. The customers and employees on the other side, they don't get a piece of the pie. And what we believe is that, the future of society is where the founders and investors, they benefit from the value creation, which is so important. Without the founders, the innovators, the pioneers who create things, you wouldn't have new inventions. And without the investors who provide them the resources, those founders wouldn't succeed. But without the customers and employees, those things wouldn't be the huge success that they are now. So like a simple example, if you look at Uber started in 2011. It's grown in 7 years, 2018, to be an $80 billion project. And none of that went to the 2 million drivers. So, all of the the users of Ubers, the employees, the customers, they didn't receive a piece of the pie. All of it went to the people who started it, Travis and Garrett, and the investors who gave them money. So the really exciting thing about tokens is where everything in society isn't just held by the people who start things or the people who gave them money, but also the customers and employees. So how does Unit fit into that? Where do we see this huge opportunity, and like why is this relevant to the blockchain space, the everyday person, or the Polygon ecosystem? So we've basically built this technology, the Unit network, and we believe it's the easiest and most powerful token builder. I'll love to show you very shortly how it works and why it works the way it works. And it basically makes it really easy to create tokens for the token economy. You just give it a name, you give it a symbol, you say how many of these tokens exist, and you add a picture, and you've created the token. And then what does the token mean? What does it represent? So a token represents the underlying value that a business has and will create in the future, a business has or will create in the future, a community, a person. And what we believe will happen, between the year 2020 now and 2025 is, a lot of cutting edge innovators, people who see this future are just going to experiment with it. They're going to trial it out. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to learn for it, do it better. And then by 2025, all of these innovators, the pioneers, the people who slept outside the Apple store to get the first iPhone, or the people who were using the internet when people didn't really care about, this internet thing or email thing. By 2025, these people would have created their own tokens. They would have bought a bunch of other tokens, and everyone will look at them and go, wow, these guys are doing something so different, unique. I want to be a part of it. And then what we expect is between 2025 and 2030, this is where, everybody in the world will become part of the token economy. Whether it's a farmer who needs a small bit of money to buy new equipment, or it's a aspiring entrepreneur who wants to get up and going and needs some support to market and grow his project. We believe that tokens will help support that. I have a question here from Prang. Are these ERC20 tokens? And please feel free to ask questions if you have any thoughts or want a bit more clarity or depth. So these are very similar to ERC20 tokens. And if people are wondering what are ERC20 tokens, so the ERC20 is basically a standard that was introduced by the Ethereum Foundation. So ER stands for Ethereum Request 20. It was started by one of our community members, Fabian Vongelsteller, and he basically introduced a standard by which tokens can be issued. So these are fungible tokens where you give it a name, you give it a supply, and people can start trading them. Many of the top 100 cryptocurrencies and tokens are Ethereum ERC20 tokens. So when you issue a token on Unit, these are also fungible, similar to ERC20 tokens. And what we expect is that, now a big question is, should I issue my token on Polygon? Should I issue a token on Ethereum? Should I issue on, Cardano when it launches, or Solana, or Binance Smart Chain? It's a big task, but what we expect is that it's going to become commoditized. We think of, blockchains as individual highways. And at the moment, to go from one highway, whether it's, Bitcoin to Polygon or MATIC to BNB to Ethereum, it's like, picking up a car and then dropping it off on another highway, and then picking up on this highway and dropping it on another highway. And what we expect and what excites us so much about, Polygon is, it allows these highways to be bridged. So, if you're driving really fast, you don't need to stop your car and they have it picked up by an exchange or picked up by a crane and then dropped onto the other highway. The interoperability allows these highways to be so much more fluid. It's kind of similar to, when email came out and, someone had a Gmail and you have a Hotmail and someone else has Yahoo. Imagine if you needed to create like 5 email addresses or 7 email addresses every time someone has a new email provider. It's just really frustrating. And that's how early we are at the moment with digital assets, cryptocurrencies. The bridging isn't yet resolved. So projects like Polygon, projects like Cosmos, projects like Polkadot, they really solve this, and it's so important. And it doesn't need to be a winner-take-all game. This market is extremely big, and it's really like, imagine there were many restaurants in a town. These restaurants are not competing against another. They're focused on feeding people. So if people can look at the digital asset space, and as Anne said earlier, it's a very big ecosystem, and we're all just trying to achieve this mission to support humanity and provide a much more equitable, transparent, and better economic system which works for everyone. So I guess now I'll give a quick demo of our platform and love to share with you some of the underlying motivations as to why we've built it this way and why we think Polygon is such an exciting ecosystem to build on, and the many benefits that we think we can provide to the Polygon ecosystem. So I'm just going to share my screen now. So this represents the unit network platform. Here you can see the 3 different functions. So you have the wallet, you have the transfer screen, and you've got the deposit screen. Here you can see several of the tokens I hold in my wallet. The name is on the left, and on the right, you can see the quantity as the value of it. Here, two projects that I'm a part of. The Canggu Shortcut project is super exciting. You can see the unit network project, which I've alluded to, is super cool. And we'll be talking more about that. The Shortcut project. So this is something we're involved in here in Bali. It's basically the first piece of public infrastructure in the world, which we believe to be funded by tokens. You know, roads, infrastructure is typically funded by government. And we want to show here how, you know, this infrastructure piece of road can be funded by, you know, a community and a group of people. So we think tokens are an extremely appropriate case for tokens. And how easy is it to create a token? So you basically go to create, you give it a name, you give it an image, you give it a supply, and you give it a symbol. And once you hit create, it basically creates the token. So we think that we have the easiest and most powerful way to create a token. Like, we think creating a token shouldn't be a matter of, you know, hiring a token expert or, you know, having to learn all about smart contracts and the blockchain and security. It really should be a matter of, okay, I want to use this token to build my community, to build my business be better. I want to get support from my family, my friends, my supporters. How can I do that? So we basically want that. And when you basically create a token, you end up with a page like this. And this is the many different features that we offer within the unit network. So you can see here, the 6 different components that the unit network offers. First is the info tab. And this gives you features like an overview. It gives you an ability to answer questions and vote on the different questions. So if you want to find more about a project, you can hit plus and now say, hey, how do you intend on using the funds that you are raising for your project? You know, or if I hold some of these tokens, will I be able to participate in the governance of it on the polls feature? You can see a leaderboard of the biggest holders. So, you know, when people, you know, buy the token, they appear high on the leaderboard. If you want to see how the distribution is for a particular token, you can see how well it's distributed. If you think of most businesses at the moment, it's usually owned by, you know, 1 person or 5 people or 2 people. We're excited for where the norm of an organization or a business is very distributed. So everyone really has a piece of it, and, you know, people realizing that a small piece of a bigger pie is better than a big piece of a small pie. And here you can see the team and the advisors, super important. You know, we have a methodology within Unit where we believe every team should focus on 4 main aspects. We call it MOPS, so marketing, organization, product, and sales. So we believe that, you know, any project can be extremely successful if it focuses on its marketing, by getting people to hear about it, on its organization, basically building the team, building the processes, making sure everyone is feeling that they're getting what they need to reach their maximum potential. P is product, so building a product that's so good that, you know, it's inherently viral. People talk about it without it needing marketing. And then sales. So when people hear about it, they might not necessarily buy it. So you basically need to build a sales team so that these people can become buyers. Here you can see the 6 different features for this particular token. You've got contest. So contest basically allows you to give away some tokens. So if you let's say wanted to give some tokens to customers which produce content, or you wanted to give away tokens to people that, you know, let's say you open an office for your startup and you needed some office furniture, you could give away some tokens to someone who gave you a monitor or a table. And then the community can really contribute to help you address the goals which you need. We have stores. So stores basically allow people to buy products and services and subscriptions. We have events. So really honored to be speaking here at the World Polygon Forum. This is an example of an event. Groups. So, you know, if you think of like a political campaign, you've got many different groups which are actively gathering and building up the movement. Or, you know, imagine a product where you've got user groups of people in particular cities or industries. For instance, we're a group in the MATIC, in the Polygon ecosystem, which is, you know, very passionate about the Polygon technology and excited to grow it. So we imagine every single token to have this group. Our master's program also focuses on the idea of groups. So, you know, we have, as Anne mentioned earlier, we're in our 7th batch, and we're very focused on, you know, bringing people together to discuss how to improve their knowledge of the crypto and blockchain space. We have the sale page. So this is where people are able to add the list of sale stages, the price, the amount that they're being sold, as well as the status of the sale. in a very transparent and clear way. And then finally, this is the part which I'm super, super excited to talk about. So this is the bank. So the bank basically gives you an insight into the operational performance of a token. So, if you think about, tokens at the moment, you have absolutely no clue about how well it's doing financially. You kind of guess it, or you kind of think, okay, they raised a bunch of money and the user numbers are growing, but you don't actually know in terms of the financial performance. If you think of, publicly traded companies, that's slightly more transparent. You've got quarterly returns, you've got, quarterly reports or presentations every quarter. Some companies, they do annual returns where they give information every quarter, every year. Here you have it in real time. So you can basically see, for a particular token, how much Bitcoin does it have, how much Ethereum does it have, how much Binance does it have, and how much Polygon does it have. So you can see exactly, if you bought into this project, you bought a number of its tokens, you can see how much MATIC tokens it has in its bank. But, if it has a lot of funds in its bank, that's great. But it presents a risk. So the risk is that, a project might go, hey, I'm going to borrow a bunch of MATIC from my friend, make my bank look really good. And then people are going to think that the project's doing really well, or, people could fake the books, they could just make their bank look really good and deceive people, So that's where we've introduced the treasury. And the treasury is where funds from the bank, they flow to in order to provide the lowest price. And how do you calculate the lowest price? You basically calculate how much is in the treasury. So you add all of these different reserve assets up, and then you divide it by the number of tokens, and that gives you the lowest price. So it's essentially the floor of that token. So, you can look at any token, let's say your friend made the token, or a local restaurant made a token, and its token is doing really well. And then you'll be able to look at the floor and go see, oh, wow, how is it compared to the floor? Is the floor going up? Is the treasury increasing? And we believe that, this is something super simple, but it's going to be such a pivotal piece of the evolution of the blockchain and token space. When you have this fundamental book value, it basically provides a way for people to look at different tokens in a non-biased way and go, wow, this person might not be well liked by the community or the people, but they're providing such a great product or service that's able to grow its treasury because people are willing to pay a lot of value to grow the underlying treasury. So we think this is a key piece. And then finally, we have the exchange feature. And the exchange feature is inspired by things like, Bancor, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap. Whenever you create a token on Unit, you basically get an exchange. You get your own it's called an automated market maker exchange, where when people stake tokens, they stake USDU tokens, and they stake the token, the token that they're interested in staking. And when they put that there, people can start exchanging against this pool. And over time, as people are exchanging against the pool, then the ratio by which the value of the USD as well as the other token changes over time. So the really cool thing about this automated market makers compared to traditional exchanges is it provides order book exchanges, things like Binance, things like OKX, things like Coinbase, it provides liquidity for lowly traded assets, lowly traded tokens. So, you might have a local restaurant and it only has, say, 100 or 1,000 token holders. So, they can't list on Binance, they can't list on Coinbase. The New York Stock Exchange wouldn't talk to them, but if they created, a token on Unit and built and use the stake some tokens, this provides the liquidity. People can start trading it because they're trading against this automated market maker. So we think this to be super revolutionary. And then, here on the left, you've got profile, you've got the blockchain explorer, and you've got a team. So really excited about what we have here. And I'd love to also mention about the different initiatives that Anne spoke about earlier. So we have the conferences. So we're here and honored to be part of the conferences initiative within Unit. We're excited to see how we can help grow and support ecosystems like Polygon, ecosystems like Bitcoin, ecosystems like Ethereum, and allow these communities to thrive and collaborate and connect with one another. We have our industry forum. So we thought, hey, what are the people and the industries which we need to get into this digital asset and token economy revolution? And we thought, how can we bring these people together to have them partake in this super exciting technology? So we're organizing things like the World Music Forum, things like the World Fashion Forum, the World Art Forum. So looking forward to seeing everyone there. And then finally, we have the World City Forums. So we have things like the World London Forum, the World New York Forum, the World Hong Kong Forum, where we're bringing cutting edge innovators, entrepreneurs, investors and experts in different fields to be able to showcase what they're doing. And our goal is that over time, they will see how the blockchain tokens can fit nicely into what they're doing so that it can help them to thrive and really excel. So that is our conferences, our ventures program. So as Zan mentioned and described super well earlier, we want to build, you know, an ecosystem where, you know, there's millions and hundreds of millions of different tokens around the world. And how do we get there? We thought, okay, you know, when the internet started, you know, you had the dot-com bubble where people launched lots of internet projects, and then you had the dot-com the dot-com bubble bursting, 2001. And then, you know, for a number of years, people were like, oh my gosh, the internet, it's like a taboo, it's a bad word. You know, people lost a lot of money from it. Yeah, there was a lot of scams. A lot of it wasn't very useful. And then, you know, there was this thing called Y Combinator. It was basically this gentleman, Paul Graham in Massachusetts, and he brought together 10 different startups in its first batch. And all startups weren't so cool then. And he built this program where it was incubating and accelerating Web 2.0 companies, you know. And then he managed to provide a really good program. He ran it twice a year. And it brought about some incredible companies, projects like Dropbox, projects like Reddit, projects like Airbnb. And, you know, without something like Y Combinator, these amazing companies would not have been able to thrive as well as they have now. And we thought, you know, this needs to happen for the token space. So starting with our first batch in January, we have 30 different projects which are partaking in it. And then we have 100 projects for our April second batch for the Unit Ventures program. And we plan to increase it to 500, then 1,000 for our batch in 2023. So really excited for that. And we hope that, you know, we can support the many people here with ideas for projects, or friends who have projects that they need some help with in terms of making a huge success. Finally, we have our master's program. We have Yip here on the call, who's one of our co-founders of Unit, and she's doing a great job in leading our Unit master's program. And here is also one of the pioneers who's providing amazing leadership there. And our goal is to, you know, attract and bring together a leading education resource for, you know, millions of people around the world. You know, when the internet came out, you know, I watched a video last week. It was a news interview, and they were trying to say, what is this thing called the internet? You know, what is this @ sign? How do I use email? How can I trust it? You know, do people actually read this thing called email? And it just needed a bit of education. So, you know, at the moment, the cryptocurrency, the blockchain space has a lot of unknowns. You know, people are wondering, you know, look at different coins, look at different technologies. There's many scams. And we basically want to give people the ability to critically think and to assess different projects and make better decisions. So that is our goal. We're now in our 7th cohort for our master's program. So looking forward, our next batch starts on November the 7th. So if you know anyone who could benefit, it's completely free. Our mission and vision here is to really provide the leading education resource and show what the future of education could look like for the blockchain and token economy. Finally, we have our university initiative, and this is really trying to build the leading knowledge base and repository for the token economy. So, you know, Wikipedia was such an amazing resource for people finding out things about the world on the internet. We think that it's so important that people know lots more about the token economy, and it's done in a super transparent way where everyone can kind of learn from one another and contribute their insights and thoughts and questions. And we don't just think it should be for big protocols, you know, in the blockchain space, like the top 100 or the top 8,000 tokens. Like, we think that, you know, for us to go from 8,000 tokens to 80 million tokens, you know, we need lots and lots of information. Imagine, you know, someone here who's launched a personal token. You know, we would love to go to their page on Unit University and understand their story. You know, how did they get started? What were their difficulties? Kind of like a mini biography. So if it's a personal token on Unit University, you can see like a mini biography. If it's a business, you know, which is being tokenized, you can see the story of how it started, its difficulties in the journey, maybe how its business or project operates, its community operates, who the notable, say, customers or community members are. Really just sharing and documenting, learning from all this information. It's all done in an open, transparent way, inspired by Wikipedia. And then finally, we have our news. So we thought, you know, how can we provide a fair and a unbiased way of covering the token economy? And we basically have built our own Reddit-like solution where people can submit articles, they can comment on them, as well as publish news reports. So those are our 5 initiatives, and we're super excited to invite everyone to participate and be a part of this token economy. In terms of what are the big challenges to get there? So we think one of the big challenges is people understanding the difference between speculative value and underlying value. And, we showed earlier what the treasury looks like, and, talking a little bit more about how the treasury works. So the treasury is basically a way to assess, how strong is the fundamentals of a token or a token project. It's very easy to create a token, get a bunch of your friends to buy it, tell your friends to get their friends to buy it, and then you've got lots of money flowing in. The token value is rising, and it's rising even more, and it's grown, 10x, 20x, 30x, 50x, 1000x. But then, someone looking at it, they go, wow, is it going to go, 50x more, or is it going to, sell tomorrow? And it's really sometimes unsustainable. And we've seen a lot of this with the NFT space, or 2017 with ICOs, and we thought, how can we do this in a way which is not just supporting the people who are very good marketers or the people who are really good at driving hype, but really support the everyday person. And we thought the treasury really solves for that. And then how does Polygon or MATIC play a role in this? So we thought, what are going to be the biggest how can we fill up this treasury? If we can't use money in a traditional bank account, like in the non-crypto world, because you can't tie a token to a real world bank account in a trust-free or trustless way. So we basically need to fill up the treasury with digital assets. And we thought, okay, which digital assets can we fill it up with? And we thought, the blue chips, basically things like Bitcoin, things like Polygon, things like Ethereum, things like Solana, things like BNB. These are like the reserve assets for a token. So you can basically look at a token and go, how big is the treasury? You can see the amount of MATIC tokens that it holds. Number two is so that's like the blue chips, things like Polygon and MATIC, things like Ethereum, things like Bitcoin. We believe these have a strong future ahead. I've been a MATIC holder for a number of years now. I really appreciated how it's delivered on the scaling solution promise that it's been involved in. If you look at the growth in the past year, it's really quite incredible. Number two is unit. So we don't think we're a blue chip yet. We think that we need to have a treasury to build up our underlying backing, and we think that hopefully more projects like Unit will emerge, which are super easy token builders with a treasury. And then number three, we thought, what will be the biggest tokens in the coming years? It's going to be industries, it's going to be cities, and it's going to be the stable tokens. So we've basically built a number of industry tokens, things like the music token, the art token, the fashion token, the code token, the restaurant token, to sort of be the ETFs or be the index funds for many of these industries, and as well as cities. So things like the London token, the Hong Kong token, the Dubai token, the Zurich token. And then number four, we believe in agencies. So, anyone here listening on the call, they can go, you can launch an agency, and basically an agency is like a digital agency for the internet. Basically, people can create tokens themselves, or they can go to an agency and say, hey, I need to focus on business. I need your help to help me make my token a success. Can you guide me and point me in the right direction? And then finally, the fifth layer is project tokens. So we think, there's 7 billion people in the world, and we think there's going to be greater than 7 billion tokens this decade. So we're excited and grateful to be a part of this journey for humanity, and really think that, love everyone here to be a part of it and support the many projects and initiatives. So we're just running, got 2 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I really appreciate the opportunity to present here, and really hands together for Anne for doing such an incredible job with the World Polygon Forum. I'm really excited for the next one in April. I think it's going to be a huge success, and really keen to see how we can help support the Polygon ecosystem. It's super incredible how many projects are being launched in the Polygon ecosystem. I do think, and Anchor too, I think Anchor's done incredible, with the incredibly talented speakers that we have lined up ahead. And Polygon's got such a bright future. Ethereum really has the brand, but if you see how much usage Polygon has relative to Ethereum, I think Polygon can really play a huge role there. And, I really think that it spotted such an amazing opportunity in terms of, the internet of blockchain, or the blockchain of blockchains. This is something that, people don't see or underestimate the potential of. So thank you very much, everyone. Please feel free to reach out if there's any way I can help with support, or, our fellow team at Unit. I'm grateful to be one of the co-founders, and really appreciative and grateful for my other co-founders, including the many on the call here today, Anne, Yip, Joe, Christian, Kat. Like, yeah, really looking forward to the journey. So back to you, Anne. Thank you so much.